Welcome back to another video, and today we're reviewing the DJI 4 gimbal. Now, is it worth it? In my opinion, no, and hear me out first. This decision is based on how it's being used rather than the features and functionalities, especially if it's casual users like myself. Yes, the features are amazing, which is something I'll go over, but it's difficult to say given the price and other cheaper alternatives. So, I'm going to go over the pros and cons. Feel free to skip ahead to my final conclusion at this timestamp, but let's jump right into it. First pro is the gimbal's design. It is super easy to carry, and you can easily fold it to fit in the pouch that comes with the gimbal. Also, I rarely ever have to charge my gimbal. The battery life is supposedly 15 hours with a 2.5 hour charge time, but given that amount of battery life, it's also great that you can charge your phone or other devices. And with the DJI 4, it has the magnetic phone clamp and ring holder that attaches to the back of your phone. It provides the easeability to place your phone on and off whenever you like. Alright, second is hands down the camera stability. No doubt about it, your clips and recordings are gonna look more stable and clean even when your hands are shaky. So you really won't notice that in the recordings due to the gimbal's 3-axis stabilizer. This ensures that the motion of the camera is stabilized even when the gimbal moves a lot. So you can always expect your recordings to be stable. So here's a demonstration of me running and recording the gimbal. And as you can tell, the clip is super shaky. Now this is the recording from the gimbal as I was running, which doesn't seem like I was ever running because it's comparably less shaky to the last clip. If I wasn't holding my other phone to record, then the clip would have looked even more stable. And in the last pro, the gimbal has a dedicated application called the DJI Mimo. There are 3 main features in the app that makes the gimbal stand out. First is the movement tracker. To demonstrate, I'll be using my trusty friend Chopper. So you simply highlight what you want the gimbal to follow. In this case, I'm highlighting Chopper, and once it's highlighted, the gimbal will track that object within the highlighted space. So if you're doing a cooking show where you're moving a lot, you can expect the gimbal to track your movement and it'll feel as if someone is recording you. Second is the time-lapse function. You can set the interval and duration of recording, and the best part is setting a path for the gimbal to record. The gimbal follows that path from start to finish, making your time-lapse recording seamless without your assistance. And lastly is the gimbal's auto-calibration. First, place your gimbal on a flat surface and activate the auto-calibration in the app, which then aligns and straightens out your phone. This prevents your recordings from looking lopsided. Now, that'll be it for all the pros. Let's move on to the cons. First con is the magnetic clamp. From reviews I read is that the magnetic clamp does not hold phones that are as large as the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Here we can see the clamp does not fit my iPhone 8 Plus with the case on, which can also be because of the side of the case is slightly rounded, making it hard for the clamp to grip. However, the gimbal is able to hold my iPhone 11 that has the case, but it is a tight fit. So just make sure to check if you do have an iPhone 12 Pro Max or large phones with cases similar in size to the 12 Pro Max. Just be cautious. So second con which can be addressed is the feeling that the gimbal lacks natural movement. So what I mean by that is when turning in a specific direction, sometimes it feels as if the gimbal is lagging behind to catch up to what you're currently seeing. However, to address this, you can enable sports mode by pressing the trigger button once and then holding it the second time. This enables sports mode, which can capture fast moving objects easily, but this can be a hassle when having to constantly hold the trigger button. Lastly is the learning curve and price. It may take a while to be well versed with the integrated buttons. For example, pressing the M button or trigger button twice will change the camera view of your phone. It's not too difficult, but aside from buttons, there are more settings to learn about in the DJI application. The cost of the gimbal is also not the cheapest. On Amazon, it's selling for $129 without tax, and it is a hefty price to pay, especially for a casual user like myself, which is why I feel that there are cheaper alternatives to the DJI 4, such as the DJI 3, which was $79 but is now $99 on Amazon without tax. And honestly, the only major difference is the clamp, which is not magnetic. Everything else is basically the same. So if you want to save even more money, you can just buy an extendable tripod stand for just $24. Yeah, you won't have the same function and features, but if you're not doing any professional recordings, then it's really not worth it in my opinion. And it's not like you can't make professional recordings with a tripod, because it's very possible. You're also saving over $100 that can be invested into other things, such as iPhone lenses or a ring light. So that's it for my list of cons. I'll be moving on to my final conclusion as to how I came up with my decision. I encourage you to listen because I explain why I bought the gimbal and how I've used it so far. So my overall opinion on the gimbal is that I don't think it's worth it. I bought it originally for a vacation with friends and just wanted something to document our activities. The clips I had were nothing fancy. It was simply the things that we did and the places we went to. And here are some clips of that. And after that trip, I really haven't used it since, other than creating my YouTube videos. But with that said, what made me purchase the gimbal was because of the cool features. However, in reality, I only used the gimbal for the stabilizer feature. I could have just bought the DJI 3 or a tripod instead, but for me, I just wanted what was new. And this is me speaking as a casual user. If you're planning to take your recordings to another level by utilizing all the gimbals offer, and then yes, it's worth it. But if you're like me who records just for entertainment, then I just find that the alternatives are just much better. The point of this video is to make sure that it makes sense for you based on what you're planning to use it for, because $129 is a lot of money to spend. Sometimes we can be too caught up with the features that can make us forget why we need it, and it's similar to buying a new car. For me, I really want a Tesla, but I already have a car, less than 50,000 miles and zero issues. But I want the Tesla because of the cool features. But overall, there's really no reason for me to buy it because my car does what it needs to, which is taking me from point A to B. Which is why I feel that the alternatives will perform similarly to the DJI 4 in regards to getting the job done. But that's it for my review. My analysis was slightly longer, but I just want to make sure that I get my point across. I do hope it helps. And if you do buy it, let me know. And let me know how you're using it. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below, as I'm always answering comments. But I'll see you on the next video. Peace.